My name is Mark Selby. I'm Chair and CEO of Canada Nickel Company. Crawford Nickel Cobalt project was discovered in drilling in 2018 and done by one of the three companies that own this asset initially in a three-way joint venture. Over the past 6 months, Canada Nickel has consolidated 100% ownership. We were able to raise $6.5 million to get the project underway. So we've been drilling since September. Based on those drilling results to date, we've outlined mineralization that's more than 1.4 kilometers long, more than 350 to 600 meters wide, and down to a depth of 550 meters wide. And even with those very large dimensions, it remains open in multiple directions. So we've discovered a very large disseminated nickel cobalt project, which we think once we get to our first resource, which we're hoping by the end of Q1, will, I think, surprise a lot of people just how large the deposit is. Canada Nickel Company and the Crawford Nickel project is a very exciting and compelling opportunity for investors for three reasons. One, the deposit itself, as I described earlier, it's already been drilled off to a very large dimension, and we've only drilled off 1.5 kilometers of what we think is an 8-kilometer structure at Crawford. So it has the potential to be a world-scale nickel sulfide deposit, which, for people who aren't familiar with nickel, this is something that doesn't happen very often. You get about one of these per decade. Secondly, in terms of where the deposit is, again, we're sitting outside Timmins in a very established mining camp with all the infrastructure in a place that's permitted a number of mines over the last decade. So in terms of, key factors that you need to advance a project, we're in an excellent position to be able to move this project forward very quickly. And third reason, in terms of the team behind the project. One of my prior roles, I was CEO at RNC Minerals, where we advanced the Dumont project from a resource through a fully permitted feasibility study project that's ready to build today. There's a number of similarities to this deposit, so we'll be able to take all of the experience, all the capital that we invested into RNC, and be able to leverage that experience and knowledge to be able to move Crawford very quickly. Investors in Canada Nickel are going to have a very solid news flow over the coming 24 months. We're going to continue to drill the project and build out a larger resource and test other targets on the property. Most importantly, because of the work we've done previously, we'll be able to advance the project quickly. We'll have a first resource out by the end of the first quarter. We'll look to have a PEA or scoping study completed by the end of the third quarter this year, and we'll look to move right into a feasibility study stage piece of work, and would look to have that completed by the end of 2021. Nickel is a metal that a lot of TSX investors may not have a lot of exposure to. Most of the nickel companies that were publicly traded were acquired back in 2005, 6, 7 when we went through the last super cycle. I think we're in the early days of a new super cycle here, and there's just not a large number of ways to play nickel on the TSX today. Nickel's always been a very high demand growth metal, driven primarily by stainless steel, but now there's a very important new source of demand for nickel from electric vehicles. Nickel is the metal in an electric vehicle battery that provides the range, and so because of that strength, car manufacturers are looking to find ways to put more and more nickel into each and every battery. So on top of the already high growth we see in the stainless steel market, we expect to see significant amounts of new demand from electric vehicles. What that means in terms of nickel projects is that there's significant industry interest in the metal. There's significant mining industry interest in the metal, as large mining companies are looking for ways to find exposure to this entire battery metal sector. And the reality is there's very few large-scale opportunities that can provide the major mining companies with the kind of growth platform that we need. That's one of the most exciting things about our Crawford Nickel Cobalt project. While it's still early days, we can see the scale potential from the geophysics and the drilling that we've done to date, that it has the potential to be a scale asset that one of the majors would like to own at some point in time. If you'd like to find out more information about Canada Nickel, please feel free to visit our website at www.canadanickel.com.